Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is module 3 of my ancient Egyptian course. A lot of you have been really enjoying these videos and I really appreciate your support. So yeah, I've decided to keep doing it, and so module 3 is the ancient Egyptian view of the world, pharaohs and gods. So, the social hierarchy of ancient Egypt. At the top you had the pharaohs. Now the gods were viewed as the highest, but as we know, the pharaohs were believed to be the reincarnations, the agent of the gods, so pharaohs themselves became the highest. Anyone associated with divinity then came next, so this included like mayors, tax collectors, and anyone else who helped the pharaoh to rule. Then after that you have the priests, the nobles, the scribes, and any of the artists. Below that you then had soldiers, builders, and farmers. And then at the very bottom was servants and slaves. So certain symbols were used in art, and this would show that person's status. So for the pharaoh, they would always be pictured either sitting on a throne with symbols of office. So this would be crowns, scepters, crooks, and flails, anything that showed kingship. And also the size of the figure really mattered, so the higher up you were, the bigger the picture of you. So, there were different crowns, and this would show where they ruled and other important symbols. So, there was the Kreperesh crown. I'm sorry if I pronounce these wrong. But this was a blue crown worn by pharaohs during battles. It was believed to mean divine power, and it was also worn during the religious ceremonies and rituals. You then had the Deshret crown, and this was a red crown symbolising Lower Egypt, and this was worn to symbolise control during occasions where this area was involved only. Now with Lower Egypt, that was the north. So the Hedjet crown was white, and this represented Upper Egypt, what was the South Egypt. And again, this symbolised control when only that area was involved. The Feshent crown was red and white, and this represented a unified Egypt, so both the lower and the upper, the north and the south. And so you then had the Nemes crown, which was known as Cat, and this was a single coloured or striped cloth. This covered the whole of the hair, the neck and the shoulders. A gold or metal headband used to hold it in place, and secure ornaments such as a cobra or vulture. And these were always worn by pharaohs. I mean, the biggest example would be Tutankhamun. We all know his headdress. The Atef crown, which was worn by the god of death, or Rais, tall white crown with curly red ostrich feathers on each side. This would symbolise the upper and lower of Egypt. So Egyptians referred to a ruler as king, and they would use NSWT, which translates to living functional king who creates laws, appoints officials, and represents Egypt before the gods. And then you would have HM, which showed majesty, and this highlighted the king as incarnation of divine power. So if you saw these letters, that's what it would mean. And then the different gods and goddesses, which is really fascinating. So you would have Shu, who represented the atmosphere, which prevented the waters from falling on the earth. You would then have the goddess Nu, who was both the sea and sky, because the Egyptians believed the sky was water, so Nu represented both. You then had Geb, who represented the earth. Now it's really interesting because the Egyptians saw islands dotted in the sky, and this was a path of sailing stars, and this was known as the Milky Way. So they would see stars and believe them to be islands in the heavens, but obviously we know it's the galaxy, so I thought that was really cool. You then got the sun god Re, who obviously travels in the boat over the sky, and this was the representation of the 24-hour day. Each journey would be 12 hours, so 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. You then had Mut, the mother goddess. She is depicted in hieroglyphs as a vulture, or with a vulture headdress. Birds were always viewed as nurturing and protective mothers, so she would wear the crowns representing Upper and Lower Egypt, and was the consort of the creator god Amun. Now Amun was the Egyptian supreme creator god, the god of air, sun, life and fertility, the king of all the gods. The first mention was in the pyramid texts, religious writings in the 5th and 6th dynasty, which was the Old Kingdom. Eventually evolved into Amun-Ra, the Sun King, and yeah. Osiris was the oldest child of Geb and Nut, the earth god and sky goddess, one of Egypt's most important deities, son of the underworld, symbolising death, resurrection and the cycle of the Nile flood. He is often portrayed with green skin. Then you have Anubis, the principal god of the death. According to the myth, Osiris was killed by his brother Seth, and Anubis was the one to embalm and wrap the dead king's body before he was then resurrected by his wife and sister Isis. Anubis then became the patron god for all embalmers. Anubis is known for guiding souls towards the afterlife and is represented as a jackal or a man with jackal's head. His skin is black, and this represents the dark Nile deposits. And then you have Isis, who is the wife and sister of Osiris. Osiris is the Greek form of the Egyptian word for throne. So she had a throne-like headdress, and she was a devoted mother and wife, and is traditionally known as maternal care in the afterlife. You then had Horus. The Eye of Horus is a symbol for protection, health and royal authority. It is known that Horus lost his left eye fighting Seth. His right eye was damaged but then healed by Thoth. Left and right eyes associated with moon and sun. So the loss and restoration of his left eye gave a mythical explanation for the phases of the moon. So that's really cool. Then you have Thoth, who is the inventor of hieroglyphic writing. Thoth is the moon god, recognised as the one who created the lunar calendar, respected as a scientist, philosopher and magician. Most knowledgeable and scholar of all the gods, Thoth's sacred animals was an ibis and baboon. You then had Seth, who was the god of chaos, violence, trickery, envy, deserts and storms. Represents all that threatens balance and harmony. Depicted with head of unidentified animal, which is believed to be a mythical composite. Seth, in the myth, murdered his brother Horus, battled Horus, his nephew, to rule the land of the living. Then there's Sekhmet, daughter of sun god Ra. She protected and led pharaohs during the war. She was a warrior goddess and goddess of healing. Depicted face of lion, which shows her fierceness, and pictured with scholar disc and cobra, which shows royalty and divinity. So that is all for module 3. The crowns and the gods and goddesses was really interesting. I really enjoyed learning about that. I will definitely leave the key points in the description down below. I know there's a lot to take in, but I hope you did learn something in this video. I will be doing module 4 next week, and that is the principles of hieroglyphics. So that again was a really interesting topic. Well, thank you for watching. Please do hit the subscribe button, the like button, hit the bell notification and leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, please do let me know and I will answer them as quickly as I can. Alright, I will see you soon. Bye!